thought
Henry
they'd wanna do
Nouwen.
it.
Henry Nouwen, that's why I love him. That's why he makes it simple.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Gospel Unplugged. This week I am joined by my esteemed and wonderful colleague,
Pastor Becca Freeman.
and we're going to be talking about a story that is, I think, one of the really interesting stories in John's Gospel. It is a resurrection appearance that there's nothing like it in any of the other Gospels, and it focuses particularly on Jesus' encounter with Peter. Before I jump into that, though, I just want to remind everyone it's Confirmation Sunday later today, and we'll have an opportunity to confirm, I think it's 260 ninth graders into their adult participation, which is one of the largest collections of confirmads we've ever had at Mount Olivet. And I just want to invite you to kind of hold them in prayer this day and going forward as they live into that affirmation of baptism and their baptismal identity. So back to our regularly scheduled programming. We will read this passage from the 21st chapter of the Gospel according to St. John. St. John writes, "Now after these things, Jesus showed himself again to the disciples by the Sea of Tiberias, and he showed himself in this way. Gathered there together were Simon Peter, Thomas called the twin, Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, and two others of his disciples. Simon Peter said to them, 'I am going fishing.' They said to him, 'We will go with you.' And they went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Just after daybreak, Jesus stood on the beach, but the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to them, 'Children, have you no fish?' And they answered him, 'No.' And he said to them, 'Cast the net to the right of the boat, and you will find some.' So they cast it, and now they were not able to haul it in because there were so many fish. Now that disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, 'It is the Lord.' When Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put on some clothes, for he was naked, and jumped into the sea. But the other disciple came in the boat, dragging the net full of fish, for they were not far from the land, only about 100 yards off. When they had gone ashore, they saw a charcoal fire there with fish on it and bread. Jesus said to them, 'Bring some of the fish that you have just caught.' So Simon Peter went aboard and hauled the net ashore full of large fish, 153 of them. And though there were so many, yet the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, 'Come and have breakfast.' When they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, 'Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?' He said to him, 'Yes, Lord, you know that I love you.' Jesus said to him, 'Feed my lambs.' A second time he said to him, 'Simon, son of John, do you love me?' And he said to him, 'Yes, Lord, you know that I love you.' Jesus said to him, 'Tend my sheep.' He said to him the third time, 'Simon, son of John, do you love me?' And Peter felt hurt because he said to him the third time, 'Do you love me?' And Peter said to him, 'Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you.' Jesus said to him, 'Feed my sheep.'" Well, there is a whole lot going on there in that story. And it's, in some ways, it's one of my favorites because of the number of things that are woven together, including the three professions of love after three denials. And they gather around a charcoal fire, and the only other place in John's Gospel there's a charcoal fire is right outside the high priest's where Peter makes those denials. So there's this clear, I think, artistic wanting to invite us to connect this scene with the last scene. And I think it's just kind of beautiful that even if Peter doesn't necessarily understand it in the moment, that Jesus invites him to profess love three times, to kind of wipe out the three denials, and then restores him with these commands: tend my lambs, feed my sheep. So I think it's a neat story of reconciliation, of restoration, of forgiveness, and one that's kind of fun. Should be fun to preach on. So curious what grabbed your attention and what you're thinking about.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories actually as well. First thing that came to mind was I woke up in the middle of the night to watch Pope Francis's funeral, you know?
Oh, yeah.
This was his text for his funeral, which makes sense because,
I had forgotten that altogether.
You know, Peter is who the church was built upon, and this is the call of Peter. But what I found particularly poignant in my own life was it was also the text at my own dad's funeral. And I think, so I was like, texting my family saying, look, Pope Francis's text is the same as Dad's. So anyway, it makes my heart, it warms my heart in more ways than just intellectually. And, it's like, it has a lot involved in it for me. What I really was struck with was the call to community more than just individualism, because so often in this text, Peter's rather individualistic, and, you just named all the details, but Jesus sees that and he still invites him. In fact, he doesn't just invite him. He wants him. He has a specific conversation with him to ask him if he loves him. And Peter feels, you can hear it in the text. He feels a little bit ashamed and threatened. But I think what is beautiful is Jesus actually sees him and calls him and says, of course I know who you are. You're human. But it's also sort of like a come to Jesus moment. I often wonder if it's like, is this where that come to Jesus moment came from? That
funny.
phrase?
Yeah,
I never thought of it. But he's really honing in on Peter and the true humanity and calling him out. Like, Peter wants to show his best face, but Jesus also knows, he really screwed up kind of in the end.
Yeah.
And he gives him another chance.
Yeah. And I think one thing that put me in mind of is I love the phrase that we're blessed to be a blessing. And I think the difference between when you have lots of neat things or stuff or abilities and you enjoy it, that's great. But when you can use it to help someone else, it multiplies that feeling inside. And I feel like here we could do something similar, like forgiven for a purpose.
Yeah.
Because he's not just like, oh, it's okay, I appreciate it, or I know you didn't mean to, or you're forgiven. It is then he gives them work to do, good work, like leadership work, like, great, you love me, feed my sheep.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm forgiving you for a purpose. Go and do something with it, which is, I think, part of the invitation we hear on Sundays. We're forgiven. We're reminded of our identity as God's beloved children, surrounded by grace for a purpose, not to just sit there and kind of soak it up, but then to be sent out and tend, feed, lead, love, share, which is kind of cool too.
And I think I would like to point out the order of that. It's like, it's not because you are feeding, then I will love you. Because you are feeding, then I will forgive you. It's like, no, I forgive you. Now you have work to do. And it's not to one up or one down one another. It's about, truly, like, I love you, period. It's like, if, then, no, that's not how Jesus works. It's like, no, I love you.
Yeah.
So how are we going to love each other? And I think it's kind of beautiful. I think we live in a world that's very quid pro quo, like, if I do this for you, you'll do this for me. We like the ledger. We like all that. This totally just says, no, it's not about that. Forgiveness is free and abundant, and I'm calling you to live the same way. And we human beings don't often do that real easily.
Yeah. I think, too, it testifies to the power of love, of being loved, that it is a great feeling, but it also creates an energy that you want to do something with that great feeling. You can't sit still.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what's going on here. The forgiveness, the restoration, and then get out of here, do something, and you can't help it.
Yep. And you're right. You named it, the energy. I think we're longing for that. We want good energy in our lives. Yeah. And when you say called for good during the stewardship season, there's nothing better than sensing that energy, and you can get it so well on all of it.
Yeah.
I love it. Anyway.
All right, as we always do, we'll close with a question or two for you to think about on your way to Sunday, and that we'll be thinking about on our way to the pulpits, respective pulpits. So curious what questions you'd like to share.
How about this? How is God calling you to feed or care for others in your everyday lives? And secondly, what would your week look like if it was shaped by remembering that God loves you?
Nice. Yeah, this story is about Peter, but it's for all of us. And that's the love and the grace and the forgiveness and the power we live out of. So we will see you on Sunday at church.